Welcome back to the Prometheus Podcast, but a little different setup. This is the Japan edition.
Japan edition, yeah, I guess so.
That's very nice. Henry, do you want to just quickly run us through where we've been and where we are now?
Yeah, so currently we're exploring Japan, just kind of taking our time off from everything back home, and also doing work at the same time.
Flat out doing work.
Yeah, still doing this step potential work at the same time. So, which is good because kind of gives you a balance of catching up on kind of lifestyle and then catching up on some
work, doing the
must
work.
need like essential SP work, really.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, sweet. So we're in Kyoto now. Just came from Tokyo. What's next on the list after this?
I think we're going to Osaka, and then we'll probably do like a day trip to Hiroshima. I don't want to butcher it, but like Hiroshima.
Yeah. Cool. Sweet. So I thought we would talk about something we were calling out the other day. So the cars in Japan are completely different to the ones in Australia. So they're very maintained. I haven't actually seen a car that's dirty. I haven't seen a car that's damaged like at all, and we've seen a lot of cars. So, and it's pretty interesting because I think culture here, and you can speak on it a lot more because you have travelled to Japan more than I have. But it seems like, of course, the culture is very conscious and aware of reputation and what other people think about them and where they kind of stand in their own culture. So, do you have any thoughts about how they are with reputation and kind of how their culture works and all that you've seen so far?
Yeah. Well, obviously I don't know fully how the culture is, but I guess like what I can say is like when we went to the bar or so the other time, we had like people sitting next to us and they were like discussing about like how reputation is such a big thing and how like people would not do what is not considered normal because they're scared of the judgment from others. And I guess that kind of relating to what you're saying with the cars, because if you have a dirty car, people are going to talk to you, like say something about you having a dirty car. So I guess that's why they keep their cars maintained, to kind of keep the reputation and kind of keep everything seeming normal. Yeah,
but it's weird as well though, because a lot of people, and you mentioned it, they have their own style and they dress kind of all like whatever they feel like,
which is so cool. Like people here just dress how they want to dress, and I guess that's something that's like super free, or kind of like how people don't really care what others think of the way they dress here, or maybe that's just how the society works here. I'm not really too sure.
Yeah, but it's weird though, because it has like, you can tell that reputation plays a huge part, and people are concerned about reputation. So what you're just saying, the people who lived here were discussing about how people don't venture too far out because they care about what other people think. Yeah. But then again, you have people who also dress or do their own thing, and they don't care what other people think.
Yeah, which is honestly like, it kind of confuses me how it all kind of works.
No,
really.
But I think it's so important because like we'll use their cars as an example, right? Because I'll ask you actually, because you showed me a funny meme actually today when we were on the bullet train about what was it? It was the Asian meme, and it's like
it was like my parents will judge me if I make the decision on my own, but it was like,
but what about your? It's like what about my decision? But it's like, what about your extended family and your complete strangers? Yeah. So how does because I'm not a part of that culture. I know you're a part of that culture. So in your actual own personal life, let's zoom out of Japan and go back home.
Yeah.
How does reputation feel to you with family and everything that you've kind of grown up with?
Well, that's interesting, because I kind of like to think that I'm kind of like an outlier compared to like majority of people. Growing up, I guess through my circumstances and such, I kind of realized that reputation isn't everything because of me kind of having nothing growing up. Yeah. But then like people would look down on you no matter what. So like whether I was like at the lowest point of my life, like I still get looked down upon, and then if I was at like the middle point, like where it's like I'm at like middle class, you know, people still look down on you.
They always look down.
And it's just like I came to the realization of, hey, it doesn't matter what others think about me as long as I know who I am, and I'm doing what makes me kind of enjoy life and is what providing me with the happiness that I seek from, you know, this like beautiful life that we have, then that's all that really matters. But I guess like the more normal route is people kind of following what their parents say because they don't want to disappoint their parents because when you think about it, like, I'm not saying all, but quite a fair bit of people who in like my age class now had like parents who were escaping wars or escaping countries that were kind of like not the best
over on
circumstances for them, so they don't want to disappoint their parents because their parents did so much for them to come to this country or to give them a better life. So they kind of just follow what their parents say, follow what their aunties and uncles say, follow what their cousins say because they're scared to kind of disappoint the people in their lives that are super important to them. Whereas for me, I'm just like, whatever.
You're just trying to do,
like I'll do what makes me happy.
Yeah. But there's that fine line, right? Because you do care what, like, your mum thinks and feels.
Well, obviously, I do
regard.
Care. And I will take her consideration into account. But at the end of the day, I will do what's best for me.
Yeah, good. I like that. That's so crucial.
Because it's like, like obviously you have to you can't just like, oh, like I'm gonna go on in life and just do my own thing. But like, you got to listen to what others say, and sometimes others could be right. But at the end of the day, you should be the decision maker. On what you're
controlling that final decision. You're going to pull that final trigger because it is your life. And I think, well, we mentioned it in a workshop, and it's a quote by John Wooden, and he says, be more concerned about character than reputation because reputation is merely what other people think about you. Whereas character is what you think about yourself, and character is actually who you are. Whereas reputation is merely just what other people think. So like you're saying, it doesn't matter if you're at the very bottom, middle, or you're trying your hardest to go to the very top. If we say kind of middle class, high tier, anything like that, you're going to be looked down upon by somebody. So it's like, well, how hard are you going to push yourself to please other people, to please reputation, when that's just what other people think? So you could tick all the boxes, and you're still gonna have someone look at you and go, you know, no, you grew up from here, or you're this race, or you're this that. That's what the world is like. So no matter kind of how hard you push it, you always hit a point where it won't matter in a sense, because they'll go, well, no, I'll look down on you because I can. And whereas if you're focused so much on, like you're saying, it's my journey, it's me. Sure, I'll take in considerations, but I want to do what I want to do because your opinion doesn't matter. Then I just think that you can just go so much further, and you can feel a lot more happier, because it's rough when you're so concerned about what everyone thinks. It like really does it eats out a lot of young people, because
it definitely does.
They don't want to, like you're saying, be the outlier, because where they're concerned is reputation. They're not actually concerned with character or themselves or their own internal world. It's all about everyone else.
Well, because I guess we kind of grow up in the social media age, and we always refer to that. And it kind of, like the social media age kind of leads to people being insecure about themselves, lead to kind of caring more about what others think, and that's the whole reputation side. And I guess one thing to note, or multiple things to note really, is like, there will always be judgment from others, but the moment you become your own judge, all that outside noise doesn't matter, because you are in control of what your mind thinks. And the grass is always green on the other side, really, in a sense. Someone's going to have better clothes than you, someone's going to have a better life than you, or kind of like the better things in general, really. But if you accept how it is, then that's all that should matter. And I guess, reputation can be destroyed in a couple seconds, really, and take years to rebuild. And so if you don't really care about it, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's so true. It can. After that judge quote, we're done. Let's shut this down. That was hot. Yeah, I mean, it is, right? So reputation, it's like walking around on eggshells. You spend so much time caring about what other people think, but all of a sudden, like you're saying, one interaction can destroy it all completely, and you're back to square one. And it could take years to repair, but you can't really repair that. But if you don't care about repairing it, if you just step on the shelves instead of kind of walking around it, then like you're saying, it's just, you be your own judge, then you control your entire world. You're not running after everyone else's world or trying to mimic everyone else. You're just caring about who you are and going from there. Is there But it's interesting, right? Because the culture here, again, everyone cares about the reputation, and you can see it, but it does a lot of good, like clean cars, clean environment. Everyone's the train system. You just got everyone standing to the side, like it runs so smooth, and it's such nice, a polite, culture. So
it's amazing.
Yeah, so it's interesting though. So I don't think it's all bad, because like you're saying, you can kind of take on people's opinions and all of that, but that whole having reputation, that obviously does a lot of good here.
Yeah.
And I know Australia certainly could use a lot more of it, a lot more, people being able to be polite and caring about
empathy.
Having that empathy and caring about whether it's their train system, their cars, or anything like that. Like you can just see the world here, and it's so different, and it's different because of reputation. But like we're saying, and it's kind of that.
Well, what is reputation really?
Yeah, well, like we were saying, that going back to that quote by John Wooden, it's what other people think about you. So if that's something that you honor, and it plays, I think, a big part here, because of course the culture is very that family orientated. They're very heavy into their culture as well. So it's reputation plays a big part, because they need to honor, similar to what you're saying. If you want to honor previous ancestors, you want to honor previous family members, maybe they sacrificed a lot to get you where you are, so you have to, in a lot of sense, or in a high degree, care about reputation, because you're not just carrying your own story with you, you're carrying everyone else's. And I think it's that fine line though, and I don't know where the line is, so I don't know, your opinion.
I guess you kind of have to draw your own line, really. Like, how much do you really care about what others think of you? How much is that person's judgment of you going to impact your life? It's just stuff like that, really, in my head. That's what you should really be thinking about. But I guess the culture here is kind of interesting, because it's a very working culture. And I guess that's what brings a lot of reputation along as well. Whereas in this day and age, I feel with the internet and the endless amount of ways you can kind of generate income streams for yourself these days, that people here, I'm not really too sure how it is, kind of stick to what is normal, kind of like the traditional, the 9 to 5 and climbing up the ladders and all that. Because it was interesting when we were like out the other night, and like everyone was just kind of like talking about like, oh, I got to climb up this like ladder stream, and or if I start here and I'm a contractor here, then I can move up to this, or it's like if I kind of stay here, then it kind of leads to opportunities elsewhere. But it's like, is it providing you with the fulfillment you seek in your life?
And I think you've just hit it. I think that's that fine line you got to be aware of. As soon as that reputation starts taking away fulfillment or your own happiness, then I think it does become an issue. Because traditional is how I'll describe it. Like traditional is how I think Japan loves to operate, and like we're saying, it's great. There's
cool.
millions of benefits, but like anything, there's kind of the good and the bad. So
that's it.
But I think what you've just said, as soon as abiding by that traditional, abiding by opinions, abiding by your reputation, even as soon as that starts kind of taking away of your own happiness, your own self-worth, your own experiences, what you want to do, your own dreams even, then I think that's where you got to be cautious. And then put that line in the sand and go, well, hang on, am I going to care this much? Because if I have to just stay in this job, or go to university because my mum wants me to go, like, where is that line? Because if I certainly don't want to go, then hang on, should I go?
I guess that's a good one, how you brought up university, because we can kind of talk about how I went to uni. And I kind of went to uni because it was just kind of like the thing that I knew growing up. It's like, oh, if I go to uni, it kind of leads to, where I want to be in life. It's like the gateway, it's the hack, But in reality, in my head, it's the debt machine, it's the debt collector, really. And it's just kind of like, I don't know, like, I guess kind of the sheep of like the society of, oh, that's the normal route these days. And I went there for like 9 months or so, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna drop down the part-time, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna drop out. And between that like first month of uni to the 9th month, if you like kind of knew how my mindset was working, it's like, this is not providing me fulfillment, this is not where I want to be. And as I got to a point where, like you said, I drew that sand and I drew that line in the sand, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna take a stand, and I took another stand. But that's what makes life interesting in my head, is that like you have to sometimes try what others suggest to kind of realize what you seek as well, because not everyone kind of knows what they want in life.
Yeah, exactly. You need to kind of dip into those kind of multiple areas, multiple ponds, and then go, okay, hang on, this is not what I want, or this is what I want. Yeah, yes, uni one's a good example. So you could tell straight away that it just wasn't giving you that fulfillment.
Yeah, and I feel like everyone can tell, really. Fulfillment, I measure fulfillment through happiness. All I really want in life is to just be happy, to kind of enjoy life every single day, instead of going to a job that I hate or doing something that I hate, because time is so limited, and I've always told myself this, time is like, even though I have a lot of time, like the average lifespan is a lot, you also don't know what's around the corner.
Yeah, exactly.
So I kind of play in the middle ground of, hey, I've still got some time, so I should be patient, but I also don't know how much time I have, so I don't want to be sitting at a job that I hate for 5-10 more years because it's the safe option. And that's how I measure my fulfillment, is through happiness. So it's like, if I get to a point where I just start being unhappy, it's like, well, this isn't really kind of
that's when you that's when you then draw the line in the sand and then trying to make a change or make a different decision,
try new things, kind of not caring what others say. I guess that's a huge one, really. Kind of training your head to not let the outside voices impact your inner head, because I feel like we all say, oh, I don't care about that other person's opinion, but sometimes like that person's voice somehow ends up in your head, and that kind of mixes up with your actual inner voice.
So then you don't know whose opinion.
Who's saying what to me, really.
Got all these voices in your head. Well, I think it is, because that's when.
Well, how would you draw it?
No, I think you're spot on. I love that. I love when you said, I'm going to have to play it back, because when you said that quote about the judge thing, it's so true, and that's exactly what you were just talking about. It goes, well, again, we're talking about the line a lot. It's like, well, where is the line? As soon as their opinions start coming into your head, as soon as you're caring about reputation, as soon as it starts flooding your head, then that's when you're making decisions not for yourself. So then that's when, and you might not notice it at the time, you might go, you're getting this menu, you're getting this burger, so I'll get this burger. Or you're going to this concert, so I'll go to this concert. You're going to this university, I'll go to this university. And slowly it stacks up, but you get into the cycle, right, where you go, you're thinking this is good, I'll do this. You're thinking that is good, I'll do this. You care about this, I'll care about this. And all of a sudden you're 5 months in or 9 months in at your university, and then you're looking around and you're like, well, actually,
uni was like the biggest waste of my life.
Yeah, but you're looking around and then you go, well, is this giving me fulfillment? And if it is, sweet, then continue. But I feel like people, like you're saying, if you haven't trained your mind to listen to your inner voice a lot more than the outer voice, then you just hop on the roller coaster of, I do this because they tell me, I'm doing this because they have that opinion, and all of a sudden you don't listen to that inner voice until maybe, like we're saying, 9 months later, you're sitting in your room or something, you're looking up at the roof and you're like, well, hang on, like, when's the last time I'm actually happy? Because all I'm doing is getting up, going to study this thing that doesn't interest me, and now, like, where's my life, and what do I do?
It becomes like, we become robots. And I guess that it's crazy, because I found myself being like that at uni. It's like, oh, I just got class, Monday, Thursday, that's it. And then the Monday, Thursday comes, I'll just go to class and not think about how I actually feel. But the moment I realized is the moment that it kind of changed my life for the better, and I am forever grateful for uni. I don't regret it, and that's something that people shouldn't regret. Like, you shouldn't regret the bad things that you do, or like, it depends, really.
Well, you don't know what you want to do until you've tried multiple things.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying like you shouldn't regret like some horrible decisions that you make, but like you shouldn't regret the decisions that you make that you thought you wanted at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And I guess if we're going back to kind of like Asian culture, or kind of like culture really in society, is to, in terms of reputation and not letting the inner voice and being your own judge, is to actually be in control of who you are. whether that's financially, being like you fund yourself, you don't take any money from your parents, you don't live in the house for free, kind of like you help out, you kind of like pay for expenses, or you move out. Really, if home is actually that like toxic for your head, or not really toxic but not good for your head, then kind of move out and don't really care what others think. Get that like worse, like not so nice apartment, get that like, you know, kind of like lower end car, really, and kind of seek what you really want. I guess that's kind of like what I would recommend for everyone, really, is to kind of be independent.
Yeah, well, as soon as you're becoming more independent, like you're saying, you become more of your judge. The more you're becoming your judge, the more you're concerned about, is this what I want to do, and will it make me happy, yes or no? And then you lean into the decision. But you can't, that's the thing, I think you hit it perfectly, because I think what you're referring to is you can't kind of pull away from those outside voices or that reputation when you're living at home with your mum. You can't do that when you're, you know, using your brother's car, because then they have a right to tell you their opinion, and you have to listen. Like, whether you saying you do or you don't, or you think you shouldn't or you should, if you're tied into someone's life, then they have, I honestly reckon they have every right to tell you how you should live your life. I don't obviously agree to that at the very end, but if you're tied into it, like you're saying, if you're driving their car, if they're paying all your bills, if you're not independent, if you're just kind of leeching on them, then why wouldn't they tell you, go get this job, stay on this job because it pays good money? Because they probably need the money. You're probably costing them X amount of money. So I think as soon as you, like you're saying, it's about, in order to move away from reputation, it's about getting independence, because the more you get your independence, the more right you have over your life. Because when you're a kid, and I know kids, you know, always kind of rage and rebel against their parents and go, oh, you know, you're not the boss of me, kids rule the world and all of that. But sooner or later you look at it realistically and go, well, hang on, if you're staying in this roof, then the choices are your parents, it's not yours. And I know my mum always used to use that line about, well, if you're in my house, I make the choices kind of for you.
And it is, because they're actually providing you for the essential things that you need in life.
Yeah, so then you can't you need to get that independence, because sooner or later, like you're saying, you have to listen to those voices, because I feel like you have zero right. But like you're saying, I think that key, and you've hit it perfectly, is if you can grab independence, if you can choose to kind of walk that path, whether it's a lower car, you're selling some of your things, you're moving out, or it could just be as simple as you're paying some bills. Like you're doing something that goes, hang on, I am contributing, and as I'm contributing, my voice matters, my opinion matters, and as I am contributing, I shall be the judge of my life, and your opinions, your reputation, what merely other people think, it's not going to play a factor, because I am who I am, and I will be the master of my life. Thanks for tuning in to the Prometheus Podcast, where we aim to bring the fire back to the people.